Are you tired of mapping slowly? Well, look no further. I've just found the best way, which made my Grenade Witchhunter that much faster. What is up YouTube? I'm Aeroplane. I'm going to show you something very exciting today, and what better way than to jump into a map and show you how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to run the T15 map and I'm going to go into the Bloodwood just to showcase how the build feels and looks like with this new setup. Where the monsters at? So essentially, the idea of the build is you're going to be rolling, throwing grenades, and in the downtime where there's actually no monsters, this allows you to be able to move a lot quicker. And that is using the Blink buff skill, that is the Spirit Gem, allowing you to move between packs of monsters very quickly, and allowing you to reposition to make the most use of your explode on the Witch Hunter Mercenary. When you move past packs like these, they actually stack up very well. So if I were to blink past the packs, you can see that they all clump up together, allowing for explode to do a lot more explosions, allowing to map a lot faster. And with the new changes in one of the recent hotfixes, essentially this allows you to clear up to less than 200 monsters, and then the rares will start showing up on your map, allowing you to very quickly hunt them down. So the name of the game essentially to map faster is for us to run down the map as fast as we can, clear the large packs of monsters. You don't need to kill everything. If you see a rare, of course kill it, since the completion of the map is tied to killing all the rares and or unique monsters available in your map. So that is essentially what we are doing, running through the map and killing the monsters as fast as we can. And Blink allows us to traverse, which in my opinion, about 30 times faster than you would without the Blink, since we don't have access to Leap Slam unless you want to weapon swap using that. But in my opinion, having Blink to be able to use within combat is actually even more efficient. So this is an example and showcase of how the build would look like in a T15 map in a Bloodwood. And this is a map with damage modifiers, temporal chains, and we are slower than what we would normally be. I didn't even see the map mod, so that is what we're doing. And you can see that the damage, the clear is actually good. Moving between the packs is very smooth and seamless, and it will take some getting used to, but essentially what is happening is we are using a weapon swap tech. So what I'm doing to be able to move between packs, apart from dodge rolling when there are monsters, to be able to iframe some of the projectiles when there's a lot of monsters attacking like now, is I will need to be able to weapon swap to use the Blink. So Blink is not a skill, it is a buff that replaces your dodge roll. So now that I've, for example, cleared the packs in this area, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hit my weapon swap X to be able to switch to my wand. You can see I pulled out my wand and then hit spacebar to be able to dodge roll, which is then replaced by Blink, allowing us to very quickly traverse the terrain, traverse the map, and move between spaces very quickly. And you can see how smooth and transition between the weapon swaps are. Once you get used to the playstyle, this will be something that you're going to weave in to your build. So one thing to note is that Blink is also, since we are not done with the map yet, is that Blink is a fixed distance dodge roll. If there is terrain between you and the target location, you will stop at the terrain. If there is inclination, if you can go up, you will be able to go up cliffs and slopes with Blink as well. So in some maps like Val City or something like that with terrain, that is where I was able to traverse the terrain using the Blink skill. Okay, we have not completed the map because there are some rares left behind, but yeah, we pretty much missed two rares. But let me just port it out and go through the rest of the build and how this Blink setup works. So generally, as I mentioned earlier, essentially it is using a weapon swap. I'm going to hit X and you can see that I pull out my wand. From there, I hit spacebar to dodge roll and I blink a fixed distance. So that essentially is the cornerstone of the build and how it works. So let's go into the gem links and see what I've used. So you will need an additional skill gem slot, which in our current build we do have. And currently we have Blink, which is a buff, allocated. And it is supported with Arcane Tempo, it is supported with Ingenuity and Second Wind. The most important thing about this build is that currently Blink is a minimum level 14 skill gem. And with that comes an extremely heavy penalty price tag, and that is going to be the int requirement, which you see to be 133. And if you're using a Cloak of Flame build, we will have only 47. So the big million-dollar question is, how do we solve for the deficit of about 90 intelligence? And here's how. Firstly, that's where we'll make use of the weapon skill trees on our passive tree. So how does that work? Essentially, what I've done, to put it simply, is to be able to make use of this. Number one, if you're already spec into your grenade build and use all your passive points, the step one is to be able to remove damage nodes. Do not remove cooldown recovery nodes, because you want to be able to recover your grenades even when you weapon swap. So you want it to be as fast as it can. So what you want it to be removing is going to be the damage nodes, because when you are weapon swap blinking, you are not doing damage. Essentially, you are traversing the terrain until you go back and attack. So what I removed personally, which you can do the same, is going to be Giant Slayer. These are just pure damage nodes. I removed the smoke inhalation cluster, and I removed some of the damage nodes to the right, which is this one, Forces of Nature. So giving about 10 points roughly to be able to spec into in nodes. The next step after you respec is you will see that you have available skill points to spend. From there, that is where you'll click into the weapon swap set and start allocating nodes for your DPS. So what you'll do next after unspecking is to be able to click weapon set 1 and then click back the exact nodes that you unspecced. But this time it is allocated to the first weapon set. So you're going to click back Giant Slayer, you're going to click back Smoke Inhalation, you're going to click back Forces of Nature, and then that is where you're going to click on weapon set number 2. From here on, that is where we'll be, as you would have guessed, speccing into every in node. So I've chosen this area, but you can choose any area that allows you to get passives. You can just path here or anything, but I chose this side. I got additional move speed. I went to get mana flash charges again a little bit faster. So just a bit of quality of life stuff when I weapon swap to get these little bits of benefit to make use of our weapon set points when we are swapping over. So pretty much just take some in nodes with the weapon swap set 2. You can follow what I did with taking Arcane Alchemy. You can even take some move speed and escape velocity to make use of your weapon set points. But do take note that you'll need to respec a little bit more if you want to take more of the weapon set nodes. So that's step 1. Step 2 to how to deal with the int is going to be, as you know, will be weapon swapping. So that is where we will be using caster weapons. Number 1 is going to be a wand, and for me I chose to get some cast speed on the wand, and that is the only affix I'm going to be looking for, getting cast speed. So I have a 32 cast speed wand here, and the second and most importantly is going to be a shield. And a shield that gives you cast speed and intelligence. And so for me, I've gotten one of the highest tiers of attribute rolls to be able to reduce the number of weapon set points that I need, and therefore allowing me to respec less on the passive tree. So very important, get cast speed, get int, and this will help solve your int requirements. And currently, now that I've weapon swapped by pressing X on my keyboard by default, this allows me to use the blink, and it automatically by default disables the Wind Dancer because I think I don't have enough dex. But essentially that is the build. And one thing I forgot to mention previously is that when you weapon swap to blink and you press spacebar, when you attack, this is tied to the first weapon set tree because you'll need to use a crossbow, and it immediately swaps back, which means that to swap to blink, you'll need to press X, you blink, and then you just attack, and it swaps back. It is extremely smooth once you get used to pressing the first X to swap. One thing that I found clunky in terms of playstyle was that when I press X, when I'm dodge rolling, I actually cannot swap my weapon until the dodge roll finishes, so do keep that in mind. So with that is how I set up my blink. And one thing that may be a bug, but I'm not sure of, is potentially that blink, as you can see, has cooldown and cast time. And that is why I scaled cast speed. But what it turns out is that what I've seen is that it seems like it is instantaneous, making the build feel extremely good. And that might be a bug, which I'm not sure will be fixed in the future. But essentially, that is how I set up my blink. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and do like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.